Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, May the 28th, presented by Mercury. Hey, it's Coosa River Team Trail time on Neely Henry. We're going to check in with Lee Pitts to see what's going on, so maybe I can catch a few fish with my partner, Jeff. We're going to talk to Tom Ott about Guntersville, and then we're going to check in with Josh Herron talking about Logan Martin and Lay Lake. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say.
Sounds good, Dano. Hey, with all the boats out there, guys, y'all wear your life jackets, be safe, keep your eyes out for the wreck boats and all that kind of good stuff.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, May the 28th, presented by Mercury. Hey, Coosa River Team Trail is today. Time for us to check on in with Lee Pitts before takeoff and see what's been happening. Lee, what's going on at Neely Henry right now?
Well, we've had some weather issues this week. Not a lot of extreme things, but a lot of rain, some wind. Really, it's going to depend on what this water situation is going to do. They're pulling some of this water out, and the guys that like to catch that grass bite, if they pull 3 or 4 inches off of that grass, sometimes those big fish just come on out and move a little bit. But it's got a little mixture of both fish in the grass, fish on some wood structure. I think with the sunlight popping out, some of the ducks are going to be a part of this. A little bit of everything. Early in the morning grass bite. I think rolling out to the docks once the sun gets up. The largemouth and the spotted bass are biting some right now, so it's just going to be who can put that little pattern together to get those 2 or 3 good bites.
What about the crappie on Neely Henry? What are you hearing there?
Most of the guys, they're still catching some smaller fish on the docks. Catching more fish on the docks, they're still holding in there in that 6-8 foot range. But a lot of the guys are going out there to the brush piles on the main river channel. Long line, the long line is kind of out of the picture now. It's more of a vertical approach, dropping straight down in that brush on the breaks. A lot of live bait. Some of the guys are still using big 1/8 ounce jigs with the Bobby Garland slab slayers and some things like that, the minnow minders. But most of them are swapping over to some live bait with it getting hot. But they're out there deep.
What about Weiss Lake in the last minute that we got? What's going on up there?
Weiss is kind of the same as Neely right now. With it being a more open body of water, we've still got some of the bays holding fish. Spinnerbait bite's been pretty good. Guys still flipping plastic, but the same thing is as long as they've got full pool or an inch or two low, some of these fish are still in the grass. If they pull it down, 3 or 4 inches off, they kind of scatter. Starting to get some buzz baits and some popar bites, things like that, out in front of the grass scattered. And some of these fish are moving deep. So, the ledges are starting to turn on. Anywhere you can find that wood cover, some good rock piles with current on it is catching some of the spotted bass. But both lakes, they're getting into the summer patterns, starting to get real stable. So once you kind of figure them out, you can hold on them.
And I'm sure the crappie bite is still kind of the same thing. A little bit of dock bite, some vertical jigging offshore as those fish have done it. Lee, man, as always, we appreciate everything, your expertise and your willingness to help. And we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Thank y'all. Let's get out there and try to catch a few today.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, May the 28th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to head on up to our good friend Tom Ott, where he and St. Jennifer and, of course, his buddy Joshua have been smacking some fish up there. I see you guys putting them big ones on the scales. What's going on up at Guntersville?
And I tell you, Dano, it's it's been kind of wide open as far as just finding fish. The fish are everywhere that you look. This rain that we're getting, they're certainly going to pull some current, and I'm sure those fish will really be biting. But I can tell you right now, we're seeing a real good early morning topwater bite, and it's kind of key. Just because there's so many people fishing out deep, it's kind of key to move in there and catch you a big fish or two before you get the day going, at least from a tournament standpoint. We're catching a lot of fish in that 4 to 5 foot of water, big Zara spooks. Whopper ploppers are really, taking some fish on. And it's just been, and once the sun gets up, you just kind of move and try to fit in where you can fit in. I mean, neither one of us are big, big crowd fishermen, but that's kind of what you have to do right now. But there are fish in a lot of places. If you're wanting to fish big schools, you got to find those big, you find a big school and there's going to be people around you. But you can find some little obscure spots with 6, 8, 10 fish. If you get those to bite, generally there's a good fish or two in there. And, we were able to do that last week. We had, I don't know, I think we weighed in somewhere around in two limits in 2 different days. We had 4 over 5 and we had a 6.15 as our biggest fish. But I mean, good. We're starting to see those solid weights out of Guntersville, and that's what we want.
Are you looking at grass edges over there for those, or are you just kind of finding maybe some transition points, or what is it you're looking at?
Well, really, from a topwater standpoint, we're looking at grass points, anywhere that's got a drain leading from a shallow spawning flat. I mean, still seeing some fish that have a, little bloody tail. So there's some late spawners that we're still picking up here and there. A lot of them are all post spawn that are just feeding real, real heavily. And that's what most of the bigger fish are. As far as the ledges go, I mean, really just looking for any kind of break. And like I said, there's a lot of fish out there. They're just suspended and they're pulled off, or you catch one, you kind of bust the whole school up. So you gotta, this current, we get some current, they pull that. It should just be unbelievable. And there's, golly, I don't know, 10,000 boats out there every day or something you got to contend with. So it gets a little frustrating, but I think it frustrates the fishermen more than it does the fish.
Well, man, as always, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again soon.
Tight lines, we'll talk to you next week.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, May the 28th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect to our good friend Josh Heron, and he's got the goods on Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, what's happening on your end of the Coosa River?
Man, there were some pretty impressive results this past week from tournaments. I think there was a 3-fish tournament that took over 6 pounds of fish to win on Sunday afternoon, which was pretty amazing. Lay Lake cranked out the biggest bag I've heard of in 5 or 6 years. It's like 5 for 28. There is the possibility for catching big fish right now. I haven't quite figured out how, but we're working on it. Seems like fish are still kind of doing the bluegill bed garden thing. You got a bunch of fish that are getting out, and that's kind of the time of year that the more time I spend doing it, the more I like doing it. So forward-facing sonar, it's a hot topic. Some people love it, some people hate it. Gives you the opportunity to fish for a lot of fish that normally don't get fished for, or used to didn't. They do now. Like I said, you got a lot of fish getting out. Brush is going to be a big thing. More and more people are sinking it, so you don't necessarily have to. You can go sit down and you can spend a lot of time just graphing and looking, man. And that seems to really be the thing on the Coosa in general. If you want to be proficient at fishing offshore, it's seat time. It's not necessarily casting time. So, like I said, any of these longer tapering points, channel swings that have little jut outs, and you just look for anywhere these fish are going to stage out. It doesn't necessarily have to be 25 foot deep. Logan and Lay are pretty notorious about getting a ton of fish in that 10 to 15 foot range, which is great because you don't have to do anything insane to really get to them. Hair jigs are cool this time of year. 6XDs. We watched Livesey win it. Fork throwing a 386 cents. That's a 12 to 15 foot bait. So, like I said, any of those little channel swing banks that have little juts that these fish are going to stage out on, slower tapering points are going to be something that's going to be really cool. You can crank around brush, you can throw a hair jig around brush. Shaky head's a big standard.
Sounds like there's an opportunity for a lot of people to have fun in a lot of different ways. Are you looking at largemouth or spotted bass out, or is it going to be a mixture?
And you don't really get mixtures on the Coosa. You might find 1 or 2 places out of 100 that you'll get a mixture, but predominantly if you pull out and your first cast is a largemouth, they're all going to be largemouth. Same goes with spotted bass. Your first is a spot. Most of the time it's going to be spotted bass. But largemouth are really cool when you actually do catch them out here because you can absolutely jack them. There's times you can go catch 20 and 30 largemouth making one cast, and that's a pretty cool opportunity.
Josh, as always, man, we appreciate everything, and we'll talk to you again next week. Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, May the 27th, presented by Mercury. From all of us at Bucks Island, please make sure to have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. Remember those soldiers that have gone before and protected our country and have paid the ultimate price. From all of us at Bucks Island, thank you to those families of those soldiers who are no longer here and for the sacrifice that they made. We appreciate everything that you've done. Have a great weekend, folks, and we will talk to you again next week.